Hi, Rick Leinbach here with Startup Portal, and I'm here to talk to you about your business plan and laying it out so someone looking at your story can understand what you're doing, where you're heading, and why you want them to be involved. So let us talk about our story here so you get an idea of where you can take it. Let me introduce you to RingPay. RingPay is changing the way you pay, and it's as it says. It's a ring. But what's it really doing? What have we done? We've identified a problem, and that's the most important thing that you want to do with your business plan, is identify that problem that others may not have thought about. In this case, we're looking at a way to take our ring to places that you don't need a cell phone, or you may not be able to have a cell phone, and using that to make electronic transactions. As an example, going into a football game, not wanting to carry your smartphone, or taking a run. So there's a problem out there, and we believe RingPay is the solution to that problem. And we'll guide you through our solution, which is you no longer need to carry your purse or wallet, because RingPay is there for you. So let's listen to Seth talk about how he came up with this idea, the inventor of RingPay.
The RingPay came about because we were thinking of people go to like concerts or major big events, but don't want to be carrying their phone or their wallet or their purse. And an easy way to pay would be to have a ring and just tap it to pay.
So Seth gave us an idea of the problem and the solution he came up with. And then what we want to do is take from that and really give people an idea of, hey, we've got this great idea, but what are the product specifications? How does it work? In this case, is it Bluetooth? Is it Wi-Fi? That type of scenario, just lay out. And obviously, in this case, we want to say we're patent pending and make sure people understand that we have some protection behind it. So really lay out your products and tell the reader, this is where we're heading. The next part is walk them through essentially how it works. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. As you can see from this, it's pretty simple. You link your RingPay, you choose your payment. You could have a cellular service with it, and then you tap with RingPay. Now, all of that seems so simple, and obviously, when you're building a plan, this is to tell your story, and you'll have details behind it, but this tells the story, gets the reader engaged to say, hey, I see your specifications, I see how it works, I'm really intrigued. After you look at your product specifications and you walk people through it, you really want to talk about what your size of the market looks like. What's your market look like? And in this case, we're talking in the whole country. It doesn't have to be the whole country. It could be a region, it could be a state, it could be your locality. If your solution to your problem fits and you can capture a piece of that market that's significant enough to get the audience energized, that's where the story will come together and people will really dig in and say, oh, I get it. This fits in this market. And then with the market, you want to talk about what's my current status, right? Where am I in the market? What am I doing with it? What I've identified. And here we're talking about, cash, credit cards, where do we fit? Lastly, we want to talk about target audience. Who's this fit? Gen Zers, millennials, don't like to have things in their hands, may want the freedom of not carrying a phone. So this fits in that audience. It doesn't mean down the road you can't fit other audiences, but just identify, especially early on, what specific audience you want to bring whoever's listening to your story. You want to bring them in there as if they're that audience and they can see the problem, the solution, the product, and then bring it into the audience. And then talk to them about who's my competition. And the reality is you're always going to have competition. So you have to find your competition. Here it could be smartwatches and wearables, but you always want to find your competition to make sure that the reader of your plan, of your story, knows that you've thought about it. So don't just say there's no competition. Identify the fact that millennials have choices with smartwatches, with an upcoming fossil watch or whatever it is. So look for that competition. Now, realistically, this is where the fun begins. You've walked them through your story, the problem, the product, the market, who fits in that market. Now you really want to talk about the value proposition, the why that brings it home. and really say, hey, the market for this ring, it's time. People want it. They want to get rid of their cell phones for an hour or two, but be protected that if they have to take a cab, or in today's world, an Uber, or they want to stop and get a drink, that they have an ability to pay for that. So it's time. You want to bring that value proposition, and then once you have that down, you want to jump to the financials, right? In this case, we're pricing it at $99. And Seth will tell you he'd like to charge $999. But he's identified a market, he's seen the product, and now he's going to take those numbers and generate the revenue. It says, hey, I now can see the story where I would pay $99 for it, or someone would. And then you take that 99 and you see the growth rate. You see you can really basically scale your business out there. So you don't have to get crazy with your numbers. You can talk about the revenue, how much you're going to generate, what the cost is, and essentially how much cash you think it would kick off. So you don't really need to go too crazy with the financials. Now, we've told our story, but now one of the most important elements you want to put in there is the management, the ownership. Who's taking the lead with this venture? Who's going to tell that story, In this case, Seth, he's got the experience as a gemologist and 20 years of experience doing it. So he's the right guy for the job. If he were a heart surgeon, I'd be a little concerned, but he's ready for the job. So you want the team to be able to sell it as you've just told the story, and people have confidence that that is the right person to get the job done. Now, we've got our story laid out. It's detailed. We've got the pricing. We've got the product. We've got the person with the management. The most important thing we want to do is take people back, similar to a podcast, where at the beginning of the podcast, they lay out what they're going to talk about for about 45 minutes to keep you intrigued, to let you see what's coming down. And that's where at the very beginning of your plan, ironically, we're ending at the beginning. But at the very beginning of your plan, you want to put an executive summary. And you want to just summarize in a small paragraph what you want to talk about and bring the reader in, just like that podcast. So when they're done, the executive summary, they want to dig into your plan and see what you have in store. So that's the last piece. You put the executive summary at the front and really go for it. This is your story. You got to tell it. So hopefully this detail and Seth has helped you envision taking your idea to the next level. Hey, good luck. Great to see you. Thank you.